Hello and welcome to our Project 2 presentation on our topic. The organization we chose was Detroit Community Technology Project, and this is for Group 11. Our team members are Benjamin Fenner, Jacqueline Martinelli, Gregory Hunter. Benjamin is an electrical engineering major. He's going to be writing and researching for the group. Gregory is an electrical engineering major and is going to be our project manager and researcher. Jacqueline is a chemical engineering major and is going to be our minute taker for meetings and is going to be one of our writers. We all have a strong understanding of technology, which gives us a unique ability to look at a mesh network, which is going to be our main purpose. Now, the purpose of the community organization we chose is to give equality to resources and neighborhoods. Our presentation will introduce our project's topic, team members, and the responsibilities throughout the project. The structure is going to start with an introduction, our objective, the problem we wish to be solving, the importance of the problem and the organization's efforts, our team members' individual backgrounds, each member's proposed contribution, how we plan on communicating, how we're going to keep our team members accountable to one another, and our project schedule.
Hello, my name is Gregory Hunter. I'm a member of Group 11. My background and qualifications, I work as a student researcher at Wayne State University, and I've also held executive board positions in student leadership. Through these, I've gained the ability to work in a diverse team of different majors, mindsets, and ideas. I've learned how to set goals and lead a team towards that goal. I've learned how to research complex topics in depth, asking the right questions, developing the right hypothesis, proving or disproving those hypotheses, and then reworking. Uh, I've learned how to plan and schedule tasks in details, not just saying what we're going to do, but how we're going to do it and the steps that it takes to get there, and guiding a team and decision-making process so that everybody is participating and feels a part of the conversation and the planning. My individual contributions to the project, I work as a project manager, again, having experience in that. I work to keep the team engaged and working towards the same goal. I work as a researcher, developing our questions and finding those answers. I will also work as a proofreader, checking the team's work, not just grammatically, but as factually, and checking if our research is correct and if our conclusions match with the data that we're acquiring. I also work as the initial contact. The Detroit Community Technology Project operates in my neighborhood out of my local church, so I can be the initial contact to reach out to them about doing our research project on them. Topic description: the Detroit Technology Community Project. This is an organization that trains neighborhood leaders in designing and deploying community wireless networks with a commitment to digital justice principles and emphasizing access, participation, common ownership, and healthy communities through their digital stewards program. More specifically, what we want to research is the scalability and efficiency of this program and the networks, the mesh networks that it creates. Our objectives for the project are to study the limitations of scaling mesh networks. These limitations include the setting up, managing, and maintaining of these networks, the hardware limitations that they're using in deploying these networks, critical mass usage once they've attained a large number of users. How do they deal with that? The perception of the people who are using the networks and the perception of the people who see the networks in use, and then the marketing barriers to get more people to use these networks. The problems that we are attempting to resolve are the knowledge barrier of creating mesh networks. This means how are we teaching people how to build these networks and maintain them? How are we creating communities in which these networks don't require high amounts of skill or large amounts of time to maintain? Again, maintenance and setup costs of larger networks. How are we keeping these costs affordable for communities? The perception of the network usage. How do we make sure that the networks are in the people's hands and that they know this is a community asset? And then the political and business aspects of mesh networks. How are the people doing defending, and how can they use this network to build up their communities, engage with the larger political landscape? Now, why is this project important going forward? Mesh networks are important because they are useful when normal forms of communication are down due to emergencies, in hurricanes and earthquakes and things, when normal power lines or uh, cell towers are out of service. Mesh networks can actually still be used, and because they rely on uh, each community member, they're actually stronger during times where there's no interference from regular uh, internet service or communication. Economic, in that uh, this is a cheaper alternative to internet, or when in rural areas where it's more economical to not provide internet service. Mesh networks can fill in those blanks, or those areas that can't be covered by internet service providers due to the cost of extending their network. Political, as we've seen recently in the Middle East and in restrictive regimes uh, and dictatorship like countries, the restriction of access to information and communication between members of a community can be used to hold communities down. So by creating mesh networks, we allow that free flow of information and communication. Business wise, mesh networks offer an alternative for businesses to reach communities, as well as we've seen in recent news, our data is being sold not just by internet service providers, but also by our uh, by the internet services we use, like Facebook and Cambridge Analytica. By using mesh nodes, we can take more control of that data and decide how we get to use it as mesh network users. And then the politics of it. Uh, we've seen We've seen legislation like net neutrality, which would allow internet service providers to limit or even outright stop our access to certain websites. Through mesh networks, we can work around this and give control back to community members and the people on how they use their internet service.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Fenner, and this is my background qualifications. I've experienced working with a team. I've done my senior project where I was the project manager, essentially, and I organized progress reports, working with faculty to get more information on topics I needed. I've also done a lot of work with electronics, and I understand the scope of the work that's going to be proposed by the Detroit Community Technology Project. my individual contributions, I'm going to be the main researcher. I'm going to edit videos for our group, and I'm going to work with other members on their written portions for the class. And if any other work needs to be done, hopefully step up to the plate. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Jacqueline Martinelli. I am the Group 11, and now I will talk about my background and qualifications. I worked for several different companies in Brazil, but here I listed just the qualifications I think will be useful for this project. So I learned how to work well in a team, how to listen other people's opinion, and how to help each other. I also was co-leading in the lab. I was co-leading with another person, and it works very well. And it was a very good experience. I also trained new people, and I was writing reports of the day in the lab. Also, I learned how to plan and schedule tasks in detail, so the members of the team wouldn't make any mistakes because of misunderstanding. And also, I learned how to make important decisions fast. So my individual contribution for this project will be, I will be minute taker, so I will write down every decision that we make in a meeting, and then I will email everyone with all the decisions and all we discuss about it in the meeting. I also be one of the writers. Also, I will act as an editor for the other write, because in our group will be 2 writers, and also will be a deadline reminder. And our communication will be at least 3 times per week. It will be by text or call depending on the schedule of the team. And also we'll use an app that includes everyone in the chat, one that we can share documents, pictures, or any other document that we want to. For the team accountability, first we will arrange first contact with the organization, find out who is the person responsible and the person that can make decisions. Identify the problem that is perceived by the organization. We already have an idea, but we want to understand more about this problem and how they are managing this problem so far. After that, we will analyze and research this issue, how it could solve this problem, and then we will brainstorm a solution. We will talk about that among the team and have some ideas. After that, we will find means to reach the solution, how we can get there, how we can really help, and a strategy to do that. After that, we'll have to develop a progress report to let the organization know how the research is going. Then we will create a feasible proposal, and then contact the organization to submit this proposal, and finally perform what is on the proposal. And the schedule, we have like a rough schedule that could change. So the first contact would be the following week, then the problem identification 2, and then the analysis and research along with solution brainstorm will be 2 weeks from now. Then we have to find the means to reach the solution fast after the solution brainstorming, and then we will develop the progress report, and then we'll have about 2 weeks to create the formal proposal, and then do the final contact to submit the proposal, and finally perform the proposal at the beginning of August.
So in conclusion, our topic is the Detroit Community Technology Project. It's about setting up meshes in either rural or underprivileged neighborhoods. The objective setting up and maintaining this, changing perspectives so that more people know about it and can take advantage of the advantages of meshes. The problem, not enough people know about it. It takes time to convince people that they're capable of learning these simple tasks and making it simple enough for even people that have little experience with technology can do it. The importance is it takes your dependence away from large companies coming in and setting up internet services for either isolated communities or communities where they don't have enough money to turn a profit. Communication, we're going to be using GroupMe to keep us up to date. And team accountability, we're going to develop progress reports to each other, keeping communication, try to set a due date before the due date. So if it's due on Friday, get all our work done by Thursday. And looking at the schedule, we can make a calendar going forward that has all our due dates and when we should be done with what portion so the next member can continue their work. Thank you from Group 11.